This little shorty is for purifying your aura, understanding both verbally and non-verbally more of what that means and why it's so important to give yourself tapping all the way in, tapping in all the way above, here and now, and into the earth. Yeah. Plugging in, feeling the instant relief. Letting both those energies circulate through your body and kiss you all over. Know your worthiness here and now in this moment. This is unbiased, loving energy, source energy, earth energy. They don't give a shit where you've been or what you've done, what you've said, who you've shoved, who you've been punched in the face by, whatever your stories are. Reiki energy, source energy, earth energy doesn't give a shit. All it wants for you is clear pathways to move through. So it's going to bump into all the stories and all this stuff to offer that radical, loving attention, all accepting, all approving, loving energy. The kindest father energy, the most nourishing, nurturing mother energy to every part and every place within you. I am Apocalypta, and this is Antidote Aesthetic Channel. I am an existential kink rapid shadow integration mentor and a master Kundalini gold healer, energy worker, psychopomp, escort of the underworld. So many different words attend. And it's really always about the energetic transmission coming through the words, the quality of the nonverbal experience is what matters. More than which words we choose, it's the energy that inhabits the words, both in the external definitions and connotations, but more so, what do you understand and believe about what you're saying? And the stories and the stuck stuff will influence that, the subconscious programming that holds density in your auric field and affects your trajectory, your relationships, your expression, your sense of yourself, and just how you feel moment by moment, day by day. The Gene Keys, which is excellent literature if you're interested in having both a verbal and non-verbal experience of the journey of transmuting density into an enlightened flexibility and openness that is unnameable, but that also has so many names. The Gene Keys. I'm almost certain, though some doubt arises because I didn't double check, that it is the 7th gene key that says the only education a child needs is exposure to one adult, one caregiver with a pure aura. Most of us didn't get that. And so our inner child is hurting, seemingly wounded, needs unmet. Because our authentic expression is purified aura, is soul beaming brilliantly through matter, through our physicality, through our vessel that is meant, that is designed to be moving charge in high volume, high voltage, continuous movement. Charge isn't meant to get stuck and held and stored in these sensitive flesh suits that creates density and blocks and leaks and drains in the energy field, and that welcomes entanglement and enmeshment with other entities, whether they're human beings or whatever other kind of beings. I don't feel like being specific right now, but also that we can be attached to stories and experiences filled with density, filled with charge that has not yet been recycled. And so when the charge isn't recycled, there is a density, and density is what creates shadow. And so the shadow needs to be integrated by attention, and that all accepting, loving, Reiki gaze, giving permission for the density to dissolve and return above and below in this recycling circulation, 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 circulation. We literally cannot say or focus on that word too much. It only feels like too much because we're unaccustomed to how it feels to be in our pure, authentic expression. We're unaccustomed, we're uncomfortable with the openness and flexibility because our conditioning has trained us in a different direction. So we're here together reclaiming, remembering, reconditioning, permission. I'm just listening because the term like purified of your sins, and then I heard purified of shame, of thinking you're a sinner, purification of all of the dissonant contextualization of energy intelligence that has happened through eras, aeons, generations, lineages, and that getting by on good intentions, proclaiming good intentions when there is shadow and density contributing to the behavioral expressions, that is a shadow. It is a shadow that is at play in most people due to this conditioning, the cultural conditioning, and we see it very much in our collective landscape right now and for a long time, and it's seemingly coming more into focus because it is being transmuted. And this work together here and now no matter how small or personal or, maybe even insignificant in the big picture it may seem, though I think a lot of you get it already where I'm going with this, is that it's very impactful. Perhaps, and I would suggest definitely, more impactful than direct action towards what one is unsatisfied with outside of the self. That purifying the aura and releasing density, withheld charge in one's own system, recycling, which purifies the aura and breeds more and more permission for that on earth, that is our most efficient, effective, enjoyable, energetically intelligent action that we can take that creates impact. And whether it's that big picture impact that motivates you, or having impact for your own inner child, finally giving it what it was always worthy of, that recognition, that attention, that it is pure. The inner child is pure. And underneath the illusion of being wounded, which occurs because we get conditioned, shown to start holding density right from conception, all of the living examples around us are caught up in these patterns of holding charge in our bodies, creating density, proliferating shadow, and either not knowing what to do with it, lying about it, dismissing it, etc. Or whether it is a child, a human child in front of you, if it's your child or just the children. I don't remember that much from high school, but I remember this phrase from the book Obasan, Kodomo no Tame. And I could be messing that up. I don't know the right, how to iterate that accurately. But that's how it's always stuck with me. And so I share that with the utmost respect, that those words carry power for the sake of the children. Kodomo no Tame. Please feel free to email me and correct me if you know better than I do on how to say that properly. And I could try to remind myself to Google it. I'm checking the time because I have this appointment with one of my fave gals, a body code, emotion code, belief code, energy worker. We do this for ourselves. We have this power to clear ourselves, to be always recycling energy. And we have this power to hold space for each other, to surrender and to have fun with pulling energy and pulling the stories and clearing them. So I love working with this woman, Bronwyn. And I'm going to link her website below. She has a Valentine's Day special, 20% off. She has no idea that I'm doing this, but she's been very, very generous with me over the years, and that's part of why I'm able to be here. So I welcome you to get in on that. You have another week. She's got half-hour sessions or hour sessions, and so I have one in 6 minutes that I'm really happy about. And yeah, stuff has been really coming up in my neck and shoulder, and I noticed some different cravings from patterns through my life where I could tell that suppressed anger has been coming up. So I've been boxing at my altar, in my living room. My kids said it's so inspiring to see. And it's so awesome to follow that impulse. this primitive primal impulse to move energy and to express the dissatisfaction and warrior energy of desiring justice, to be able to express it in a playful way that inspires someone else. Where was I going with that? Because that's purifying my aura. And that's exactly what I want to offer to my inner child. Because I have wanted to let go of the stories and the subconscious beliefs that were blocking me from sharing and being of service, that were having me hide. I grew up in narcissistic conditioned environment, thick with emotional suppression and enmeshment and toxicity. I'm also, very neurodivergent, reclaiming high functioning in a way that actually honors my system. And so, recycling the charge that's been trapped in my tissues, not really particularly by choice, but by reflecting the patterns in caregivers that accumulated those patterns because they were reflecting patterns with their caregivers. And so it's nobody's fault. A nonverbal autistic woman that I worked for who changed my life reminded me how important the nonverbal is in understanding and caring for myself and for others. She would use the words, "It's nobody's fault," when things would start to escalate, when conflict would occur in her system because boundaries were being crossed, or in the environment. She would say, "It's nobody's fault." And I can't remember exactly what movie or story that was a line from, but that's where my mind is going, trying to remember. Anyways, to liberate ourselves of the conflict in our system, tapping into it's nobody's fault, is that same pure, all accepting, all approving Reiki oneness, infinitely resourced source energy, reflecting with earth energy, recycling for you any enmeshment, any attachment, any toxicity, purifying your aura, which is the opposite of bypassing or letting anyone off the hook. Because when you do this for yourself, you are standing holding this line of self-responsibility. And people feel it. And they're either repulsed by it because they're not ready to take responsibility, or people are magnetized to it because they are craving and curious and compassionately drawn to the radical compassion of self-responsibility, of a purified aura. And this is the education that these apocalyptic times call for. And so if you would like support, I'm available this weekend for quick calls. If you're interested in Mission, Not Your Average Reiki training with me, you've got one more week to sign up. Or there's always the self-paced study. And I have a couple more spots open for the more intensive apprentice version. So I'm so honored to sit here and speak to you this way, energetically and in English. I am loving you and wishing for you the relief and the joy and the peace and the inner justice, and for us, the external justice that occurs when we give this to ourselves. See you soon.